Hello everyone, my name is Sir Spooks and today we'll take a look at 11 scary videos. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more scary content. Alright, with that said, let's begin. The first video we'll be looking at was posted to TikTok by a user known as Globalist Slayer USA on February 1st, 2026. And shows a strange moment captured on a home security camera late at night. The footage shows a quiet backyard covered in snow. Right from the start, you can already see a series of footprints scattered across the ground. But then, something even stranger happens. As the video continues, a new set of footprints begins to appear, forming one after another, as if something invisible is actively walking through the yard. What makes it even more unusual is the spacing. These newer prints have a much wider gait, suggesting something significantly larger than a normal person. It's a subtle detail, but once you notice it, it completely changes how the clip feels. The uploader even used the hashtag Bigfoot, suggesting they believe these tracks could belong to something far from ordinary. For those who believe, this could point to something unseen physically moving through the environment, leaving behind tracks without ever being visible. Another possibility is that whatever is making the footprints simply isn't being picked up properly by the camera, blending into the background due to lighting or recording limitations. It could also be the result of editing, with the footprints added in afterward to create the illusion. It's the progression that stands out the most, not just the footprints themselves, but the fact that new ones appear, as if something is actively moving through the yard in real time. Imagine coming home after a long day, pulling into your driveway and noticing something across the street that immediately makes you stop and stare. That's exactly what happened to this woman, as shown in a TikTok video posted by user LittleMissBella3. The clip begins with her pulling into her driveway and stepping out of her car. As she locks the door, something catches her attention across the street, and she just stands there watching. On the other side of the road, a person wearing what appears to be a headlamp can be seen moving around on all fours. Their movements are erratic and unnatural, almost animal-like, as they crawl and shift positions in a way that's difficult to make sense of. They continue behaving strangely for several moments, never acknowledging the person filming. At first glance, the way this figure moves feels deeply unsettling, like something pretending to be a human, but not quite getting it right. It could also just be a person acting oddly, possibly under the influence or simply behaving in a way that doesn't make much sense from the outside. But it's the unpredictability that makes this clip stick. There's no context or no explanation, just someone moving in a way you don't expect to see. A large number of children grow up with imaginary friends. It's a normal part of childhood and most parents don't think much of it. But sometimes, things don't stay so innocent. This TikTok video was posted on January 27th, 2026 by a man named Nicholas Faria. In it, he approaches his young daughter who appears to be talking to someone who isn't there. At first, it seems like a harmless moment. Then this happens.
Decile que traiga el coche, decile. Le dice que traiga el coche.
¡Dale el coche!
The girl begins calling out to her imaginary friend, asking it to push the stroller sitting nearby on the sidewalk. And just seconds later, the stroller starts moving. There's no one visible touching it. It simply begins rolling forward on its own as if something responded to her request. Moments like this are often interpreted as a child interacting with something unseen. The idea that imaginary friends might not always be imaginary. At the same time, there could be a simpler explanation. The stroller may have been on a slight incline, causing it to roll naturally, or it could have been nudged just out of frame. It's also possible the scene was staged to line up with what the girl was saying. What makes the clip stand out is the timing. She asks, and almost immediately, something happens. Over on TikTok, a woman known as Cat Snap posted a video explaining a strange and unsettling situation happening near her home. She says she lives by a river in an area with no lights at night, making it especially dark and quiet once the sun goes down. But according to her, that silence has been broken more than once. She then asks viewers to listen closely.
So just listen for a moment, okay? And tell me that you would not be freaked out by this.
From somewhere across the river, a series of loud, eerie singing and chanting sounds can be heard echoing through the darkness. The voices don't sound close, but they're clear enough to feel uncomfortably present. It's the kind of noise that doesn't immediately make sense, rhythmic, almost coordinated, and completely out of place in such an isolated area. What makes this even stranger is that this wasn't a one-time occurrence. In the description, she explains that this is the third time in 2 years that she's heard these sounds near her property. In a follow-up video, she responds to someone suggesting it might just be people nearby. She acknowledges that others do live along the river in California, but insists that whoever is making the noise is doing so late at night, and for reasons she can't explain. The whole situation gives the impression of something happening just out of sight, close enough to hear, but far enough to remain hidden. Of course, there could be a more ordinary explanation. The voices may simply be coming from people gathered somewhere along the riverbank, with sound carrying unusually well over the water at night. But even with that in mind, hearing distant chanting echo through a dark, unlit area like that is the kind of thing that's hard to ignore once you've experienced it. A woman named Sarah Serendipity posted a video to her TikTok account on March 12, 2026, describing a moment that left her deeply unsettled. According to Sarah, she had a strong feeling that she was being watched one night. Unable to shake the feeling, she decided to pull out her phone and start recording, just in case. It didn't take long for that feeling to be validated.
What the f*** is that? What the f*** is that? What the f***? What the f*** is that? It looks like a hand. A freaking face. Like 2 hands and a face. What the f*** is this?
As you can see, what appear to be handprints and even a face impression suddenly become visible on the window. The marks look pressed into the glass as if something was right there, watching from the other side. The detail is what makes it so disturbing. It doesn't just look random. It resembles something with form, something close. It's easy to interpret this as an unseen presence revealing itself in a physical way, leaving behind traces of where it had been standing. At the same time, there could be a more ordinary explanation. Residue, condensation, or oils on the glass can sometimes reveal prints that were invisible before, especially with changes in temperature or lighting. Even so, the timing is what makes this moment stand out. Feeling like you're being watched and then seeing something appear that seems to confirm it is the kind of experience that lingers long after the moment passes. In March of 2013, a YouTuber known as Dan82ify uploaded a video describing a disturbing experience that had just happened moments earlier. According to Dan, he had just woken up and gone downstairs, only to find that all of his kitchen cabinets were wide open. He insists they were closed when he went to bed the night before, which immediately left him feeling uneasy. Concerned, he grabs his camera and begins recording. We then follow him into the kitchen as he starts closing each cabinet one by one, trying to make sense of what's going on. Everything seems calm for a moment, until this happens.
I'm really scared right now. Just want to shut all these. I figured I'd get it on camera so if something happens, at least it's documented. Alright. I think I'm just gonna go downstairs and chill out and edit for a little while. Oh shit! Oh, fuck me. I gotta upload this. I gotta upload this before anything happens. And nobody gets to see this. Ow. I think I broke my ankle.
Out of nowhere, a glass suddenly falls and shatters on the floor, causing Dan to jump in shock. And just seconds later, another one falls, breaking apart just the same. The reaction is immediate. Panicked, Dan turns and runs, desperate to get away from whatever might be causing it. In his rush, he ends up falling down the stairs, later claiming it twisted his ankle trying to escape. The sequence of events feels sudden and chaotic, like something escalated without warning. To some, this looks like classic poltergeist activity, with objects being moved or thrown by an unseen force. It's also possible the entire scenario was staged for the video. What makes this clip linger is how quickly things spiral. It starts with something small and unsettling, and within seconds, it turns into something much harder to ignore. Over on the interdimensional NHI subreddit, a user known as FVMK3 shared a video filmed in Cambridge, UK back in 2014. In the clip, someone is simply recording the night sky above the city. Nothing unusual at first, but after a few seconds, something appears that quickly changes the tone of the footage.
Oh! What is it?
Three bright orbs can be seen moving together in a tight formation. They glide smoothly across the sky before suddenly accelerating at a speed that's difficult to track, and then, just like that, they vanish. The coordination between the three objects is what stands out. They don't drift randomly, they move together almost as if they are connected or following the same path with precision. Moments like this often get linked to reports of orb-shaped UAP, especially when multiple objects are seen moving in formation. At the same time, it's hard to say exactly what's being captured here. Without more context, it could be something more conventional that simply appears unusual from a distance. Interestingly, the footage was even featured in a Netflix documentary involving George Knapp called Investigation Alien, which is only added to the discussion around it. Clips like this tend to stick with people, not just because of what's seen, but because of how clean and coordinated it all looks before it's suddenly gone. Millions of children around the world love Peppa Pig. It's a harmless, cheerful character, the kind of thing you'd never expect to be involved in anything unsettling. But after this moment, that might change. This video posted to TikTok by Iconic Hannah shows her child's Peppa Pig plush lying on its side on a bed. At first, there's absolutely nothing unusual about it, just a normal toy sitting still, until you look a little closer. If you focus on the face, you can see it. The eyes move. It's subtle but noticeable enough to feel completely wrong. The toy itself doesn't shift, just the eyes, as if something inside briefly adjusted them. Naturally, this raises a lot of questions. The uploader later cut open the plush to check if there was anything inside that could explain it, but found nothing. Just stuffing like any other toy. To some, this feels like something unnatural briefly revealing itself through an everyday object. A more grounded explanation is that the movement was added in editing. Small, isolated changes like this can be created convincingly with simple video effects. What makes it unsettling is how minimal it is. No dramatic movement, just a slight shift in the eyes. Enough to make you pause and look twice. A TikTok user known as El Morcillo posted a video in February of 2026 showing what starts off as a normal day at the playground with his young child. At first, it feels like a wholesome moment, just a parent spending time with their kid. But it quickly becomes clear that something isn't quite right. From the beginning, the uploader seems uneasy, as if he's already noticed something off in the area, which is likely why he started recording in the first place. And then, around the 1 minute mark, things start to get strange.
No, mi amor, no pasa nada, ven. No era nada, ven. ¿Qué?
¿Qué es?
No sé, no.
No creo que sea
Irga, sí se miró. Yo sí miré, alcancé a ver algo. Mira, ¿te checaste? ¿Viste?
In the background, near a tree, what looks like a shadowy figure can briefly be seen standing still. It's faint, but noticeable enough to stand out once you spot it. Then, not long after, something even more unsettling appears. A head seems to peek out from the side of the tree, just enough to be seen, before quickly pulling back, almost as if it's watching them. The timing and placement make it feel deliberate. In a follow-up video, the uploader goes back to the same location and shows the tree up close. And that's where things get even more confusing. The tree is far too thin for a person to realistically hide behind, especially in the way the figure appeared in the original clip. It gives the impression that whatever was peeking out shouldn't have been able to stay concealed there at all. To some, this feels like something observing from a distance, appearing just long enough to be noticed before disappearing again. The videos could also be staged, possibly using clever positioning or editing to create the illusion of something hiding behind the tree. But when you see something peek out and then realize there's nowhere for it to hide, it leaves behind a very specific kind of unease. Before we get started with this next video, some of you might recognize it. It was actually featured in one of my older videos many years ago, but since it's been so long, I wanted to take another look at it for those who are new to the channel, or for those who may never have seen it before. The clip was originally posted to YouTube by a channel known as Kilo Lu on December 4th, 2012, and it shows a group of friends exploring a long, dimly lit tunnel late at night. From the start, the atmosphere feels tense. One of the guys shines a flashlight down the tunnel, trying to see if anything is lurking in the distance. Eventually, they decide to move forward, slowly making their way deeper inside. Step by step, they continue through the darkness, growing more cautious as they go. And then this happens. Out of nowhere, a strange figure suddenly charges toward them at full speed. The reaction is instant. The group turns and runs, clearly terrified by whatever just came rushing out of the darkness. The creature itself is hard to make out clearly. Its shape looks unusual, almost distorted, but the pole lighting makes it difficult to fully understand what we're seeing. To some people, this feels like a genuine unknown entity, something hiding deep within the tunnel, only revealing itself when the group got too close. Another explanation is that it could simply be a person, possibly positioned ahead of time, who ran toward them to create a scare. What makes this clip memorable is how quickly everything shifts. 1 second it's quiet exploration, and the next, pure panic. On June 17, 2021, a woman named Chriselle Luna uploaded a video to her YouTube channel showing herself exploring an old, allegedly haunted prison. For the first several minutes, she moves through different hallways and rooms, investigating the building. Nothing particularly unusual happens at first, just the usual tension that comes with being alone in a place like that. But then, in one specific room, everything changes.
Yo quiero preguntar, y me estoy atreviendo a hacerlo estando sola en este lugar. ¡Ay! ¡Ay, ay, ay! Dios mío, yo vi algo que corrió. En este lugar.
If you look closely at the window, a dark figure suddenly flies past at incredible speed. It happens so quickly that it's easy to miss, but Chriselle notices it immediately, and her reaction says everything. Before she even has time to process what she just saw, something even more unsettling happens.
Lo hayan visto, yo les voy. ¡Ay! Ahí está corriendo algo. Voy a. Lo hayan visto, yo les voy. ¡Ay! Ahí está corriendo algo. Voy a mostrárselos. Se los voy a mostrar ya cuando haga la edición de este video para ponerle un círculo y puedan apreciar lo que yo vi en mi cámara. Qué fuerte, qué fuerte, qué fuerte. No sé qué era, no sé si era la niña, no sé si era otra cosa, pero estoy segura que no era una persona porque no hay nadie aquí.
The figure comes back. This time it moves in the opposite direction, almost as if it's running across the same area again, deliberately making itself visible. The timing is what makes this moment stand out. It's not just a one-off glimpse. It happens twice in a way that feels almost intentional. To some, this looks like a shadowy entity lingering inside the prison, briefly revealing itself before disappearing again. Amazingly, Chriselle doesn't get frightened away from this entity entirely, as she proceeds to continue her investigation, but she is never able to find this entity again. Hopefully, Chriselle won't ever go back to this prison for another investigation again, because this entity may be waiting for her return. And that was 11 scary videos. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then subscribe for more scary content. My name is Spooks, and I'll see you all in the next video.